Whether you want to believe it or not, Disney is actually their own worst enemy. They go out of their way to make changes to their films that drive them more to one side of a political agenda than the other, and that's actually detrimental to box office. I know that's surprising, but it's absolutely true, and one of the most controversial directors is actually saying it out loud. Of course, she was also at a woke storytelling conference, but the point's there. The film she shot is not the one that ended up on the silver screens in front of audiences. And that's a real problem. And it's all a Disney disaster, piling on Disney disaster after Disney disaster after Disney disaster. And all of their meddling only makes things worse. We've got to talk about this. So here we go. Now, before we get started, I just want to say I'm looking forward to 100K, but that doesn't come without your help. So if you're here for the first time or the 1000th time, please go down, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and turn on all notifications. That way you don't miss anything, because I do a number of stories every week, plus basically a live stream every day. You don't want to miss those. There's a lot of information there and stuff you won't hear anywhere else. And with that all being said, hit that thumbs up button and let's get going. Now, the Marvel's director, Nia DaCosta, says that MCU Bomb's final cut was not the movie I pitched or even the first version that she shot. And not to just hold to the headline, this was done in front of people who have, well, similar interests to undermining society, because that's what Nia DaCosta would like to do. And with this story coming out of Bounding into Comics, written by Spencer Bakuli over there, the editor-in-chief, we kind of have a feeling for where this is going to be going. And we're definitely going to be referencing the comparison between the budget of this film and its failure and the budget of another recent film and its failure, and it all has one common tie. That's right, Disney. In providing yet further insight into Disney and Marvel Studios' current mishandling of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and everything else, director Nia DaCosta has claimed that the version of the Marvels that eventually found its way to the theaters was completely different from both the one she had originally pitched and the one she actually put to film, which means, well, meddling. And Disney does this a lot, especially on their DEI offensive that they've had against the public for the course of the last 4 or 5 years, all driven by the poisoning of the Disney Corporation by one Bob Iger and all of his little, well, sycophants, for lack of a better term. DaCosta, who many readers may recognize as the director of the 2021 Candyman reboot, which wasn't spectacular by any means, revealed this alleged switch-up to her original creative vision for Carol Danvers' latest outing while speaking to attendees of the 2025 Storyhouse Screenwriting Festival, of which I'm sure dozens attended. And if you think I'm kidding, just look here at all the empty seats she was talking to. Taking the stage as one of the annual event's guests of honor, as recapped by Deadline, the director reflected on the ins and outs of her filmmaking career, mostly bad, including her brief dance with the MCU, which she admitted was more frustrating than fun due to the franchise's factory line production style, albeit she said it in more positive terms, at least according to Spencer. She definitely put a flower bed at a condemned house, but hey, let's not quibble. They had a date and they were prepping certain things, and you just have to lean into the process hardcore, recalled DaCosta to her host Kate Dolan, the director of the upcoming Megan spinoff Soulmate. The way they make those films is very different to the way ideally I would make a film, so you just have to lean into the process and hope for the best. The best didn't happen this time, but you kind of have to trust the machine. No, you don't. The machine is almost always the problem, and it seems like factory-style film production may be on the way out finally, at least at the MCU and Disney as a whole, because almost all of that corrupted machinery is kicking out disasters that the company just plain can't afford. Yet, despite her ostensible attempt to take a chin-up attitude towards the situation, the director then detailed a fact about the Marvel's production that would burn any filmmaker, and I believe would burn them out of working with Disney. That, rather than resembling her take on the Marvel Trio's big screen team-up, the film post-production process saw it shredded into a disastrous final cut that audiences ultimately received and rejected. So badly, in fact, that the film did not cross the $200 million threshold on a global scale, which means that it lost several $100 million, which is not a win for Disney no matter how many times they try to sell it to themselves. Adding to her point about the Marvel machine, DaCosta asserted it was interesting because there was a certain point of view when I was like, okay, this isn't going to be the movie that I pitched or even the first version of the movie that I shot. So I realized that this is now an experience and it's a learning curve, and it really makes you stronger as a filmmaker in terms of your ability to navigate. That's right. Instead of making the film and being creative about it, even people like DaCosta, who was a casted director, as almost all Disney directors are technically cast, there really wasn't much of an opportunity here to make anything that was, well, related to an artistic vision, because it's just pablum forced into a factory setting that grinds out the cheese whiz like any industrialized process. And in definitively confirming that her MCU experience was wildly unsatisfying, the director closed out her comic book theme recollection by telling Dolan that immediately after wrapping The Marvels, I called my team and I said that I need to make Hedda, which is her upcoming film adaptation of the famed Norwegian play Hedda Gabler, which follows the titular lead as she laments being trapped in an unhappy marriage and life. Okay? Well, I guess that speaks to her relationship with Disney as an unhappy marriage and life. And look, I would get that, but I'm not sure I'm going to go see Hedda, and I don't think anybody else is either. Ultimately, these types of decisions and the process are leading to very bad films, and just to cap this video off with something that I think you'll find quite interesting, The Numbers does another comparison on the update for Snow White, which is, well, basically the same budget as the Marvels. At least that's what they claim. We know better than that. It's probably $120 to $130 million more, but we'll set that aside for now and look at the comparisons between Disney's Snow White and the Marvels, separated by 2 years or a year and a half if you prefer. And looking at the international global audience, you can see $153 million Snow White to $199 million The Marvels, and when you compare it at the chart level, they're basically performing exactly the same. I have a feeling that Snow White's about to end its run short of $200 million global and short of $100 million domestic, which says volumes about Disney's vision for now and the future, and the fact that maybe it's about time that investors take control of the company once more. Suffice it to say, I'm quite curious what you think about Disney's direction and what you think their future performance in films for the MCU, Star Wars, or any type of animated fare is likely headed. With only one thing to look forward to this year and the Lilo and Stitch live-action remake, do you think Disney's capable of recovering, or do you think it's going to take a major overhaul to help them get back into the swing of things? And I'm talking from the top down. I think they need to clear house. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya for real.